Welcome back to the GSL Code A. It's time for a second match here. Super, it's up against Solar, the battle of the S names. Don't get them mixed up. Solar, a beast in online tournaments, really solid in Pro League so far this season. And I feel like there's a chance he could get out of this group for sure.
It depends very much on if he can keep his score on count here. I feel that he definitely has it in him to beat these players, but he's not as experienced as they are. They have a lot more experience. They played StarCraft II for longer, especially that's of course true for Super here.
And Super has to play on. Yeah, he does have so much experience here. He has to play on Daedalus Point, by the way, in his very first map. So he doesn't even have to beat the Zerg player once to force that out.
That's super annoying for him.
I mean, no matter what in this format, you're going to play Daedalus Point in PvZ in one of the 3 games at the very least.
Yeah,
at the very least. you might do it too, I guess.
Well, we're going into map number 1, Daedalus Point, Super going up against Solar here at the GSL Code A with Colin Wolf.
Super versus Solar.
Super starts to the bottom right of Daedalus Point, our first map in the best of 3 between him and his Zerg opponent. And he himself with a 52% win ratio in this matchup. And Solar, his opponent, is a player that especially in online tournaments has great results, is playing a lot of those, is farming them basically. To the top left we have him here in blue, starting for Samsung Galaxy. Samsung Galaxy players actually very, very active in online tournaments.
Yeah.
And just to give you a little bit of an idea of how good Solar actually is in offline matches in this matchup, he has an 81% win ratio. He played 11 maps and he won 9 of those. He only lost with an 0-2 against Hero. And that's the only best of 3 that
Which
lost
hero?
Everything.
Just out of curiosity.
CG Antis Hero.
Okay.
So he won against SOS twice. He won against Zest. He took down Baby Knight with a 2-0. He won against Drain and against Trap. So really impressive results here by him. He's one of those players that you will see in most of those online tournaments, and he's always going to the semifinals, to the finals. He's just always there. He's playing no matter at what time. And playing in online tournaments for Korean basically means that he has to play throughout the entire night because of the time difference to Europe and America.
Yeah, and I mean, this is one of those things that you can do if you talk to your coach and you say, you know, I really want to play these online tournaments. I want to get my name known out there to the foreign scene, and also I want to make a little bit of money on the side. I want to do this, and can I stay up late and practice this way by playing in the tournament? It's going to help me prepare.
Yeah, this is actually one of the problems that I have when especially, I mean, there were huge discussions in the past where especially players in North America were saying that it's very hard for them to get exposure. And to a certain extent, this is definitely true. But at the same time, very few of those take the opportunities that they get to really make this work. Because someone like Solar has an even tougher time to do that since we have very few competitions here in Korea. But he's just not afraid to put in the time to wake up at weird hours and play through the night and deal with different time zones and delay and ping to a different server and whatnot, just to get his name out there and make himself like one of those players that you just know and recognize. And this is something that he does, and several other Samsung Galaxy players do that too. Trent, for example, also a player with a lot of potential, and he is doing, like most of those Samsung Galaxy guys, just put in the extra mile, and that is paying off.
Yeah. I mean, if you're on a Kesper team like this as well, the more you prove yourself in the team house and the online tournaments, the more likely you're going to be put out in the roster for Pro League. And the more often you do that, you get a ton of exposure. So
it's also the experience. Like, how many qualifiers are there these days where you want to go to a big offline tournament, but in order to qualify, you have to play an online tournament. And most of the time, you have to play that on a different server.
Yeah.
So if you already have the experience to deal with that delay and with that lag and with the occasional spikes, that is just a daily thing in those conditions. If you are used to those, then you can just perform much better than if you just like play.
Wait
this
until
one
the one qualifier comes up that you really care
and then
about.
you suddenly, oh, I cannot really play this because I have like a little bit of delay or lag or these mini spikes that are annoying me. If you're used to those already, it just works in your favor.
So let's talk about this game. This game is crazy, by the way. He just went for a gateway into a Nexus with like just a gateway into a Nexus. I mean, he's actually playing a fairly greedy build. He has the wall at the top of his ramp. He's going to do a wall with his Nexus here. We talked about the possibility of this. Still takes a ton of buildings to do it.
The one thing that actually baffles me a little bit more is that Solar is not playing more aggressive than he is right now. He's just falling straight into a third base. And most Zerg players that we've seen so far will just rush out speed and immediately go for Zerglings and position them on the low ground at the natural.
I mean, he's starting now 8 more Zerlings, but okay, there's 10 more. Well, there's 8 from 10. I thought that was 10 additional ones. So he's actually going to have like about, well, let me do the math, 12 Zerlings on the map. 12 Zerlings plus these 2. He's going to have about 12 Zerlings on the map.
Don't know what to do it.
And that's not enough to do anything here.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of resources also just tied up in those extra bases that he already got, so he didn't rush that out and go for the aggression here. He's just simply falling into his 3rd base, and he says like, yeah, it's alright, I'm gonna play a fairly normal game against you on this Zerg-favored map.
This was an interesting choice. And hey, this is the first player to play this style on this map that we've seen in a televised match yet in Korea.
Okay, who are you talking about now, Solo or Super?
Super. But yeah, also Solar, really, to play the way he has. Takes his layer as natural. Whoa. What's going on with my voice today, man? Is it the temperature, or is...
I don't know, but...
Is it my coffee? Like, maybe it was that Chinese food I ate earlier?
Maybe you hit puberty. Sorry.
I'm hitting it again, man. Things got really good for me when I hit puberty last time. Let's see what happens this time.
I couldn't resist. I apologize, but that was too tempting. Yeah, but something's going on with your voice today.
Yeah,
it might be the food that you ate earlier.
Yeah, I think it's
talking about that.
This Chinese food like dehydrated me. I ate earlier, but it's good. It's gonna be okay.
Well, looking at this right now, we have the lair tech nearly completed. On the other hand, Super is going into a Forge, into a Twilight Council. He has the Robo on the way. And I'm still baffled that Solar did not play this way more aggressive than he actually did. He played just a fairly normal opening here. And I'm wondering how many games on this map he played so far.
That's a good question. This map is in the ladder pool, obviously, but you don't hit a lot of pros there because most pros will veto this map. And then you don't have this map in Pro League. And basically for him, this is probably going to be the tournament that he plays this map on, you know, the most. If any tournament ever puts this map in besides WCS, which the chances of that are pretty small. And in Korea, we don't have any other tournaments, so something to consider. I mean, I guess maybe he hits this on online tournaments he plays in every now and then. We have Blink +1, Colossus Tech on the way in range. This is something that Solar can identify. Like all 3 of those things he can identify with the Overseer that he has here.
Yeah, and also what we have here is a very small... Okay, here we go. 12 additional drones are being built, and that will put his drone count up to nearly 70. Because so far he was in a very low amount of drones. Now, on the other hand, we have the Protoss player, only with the gate rate research done, has with the hallucinated Phoenix the information that he needed to go straight into a 3rd base. That 3rd is also very much exposed on this map. It's very difficult to really hold it properly. You need a good wall there. You want to have a cannon and also a couple of gateways just to shield it.
Yeah. This is... well, look at that. He takes 2 more Stargates. This is a situation where he can likely hold the base if it finishes, but since it's not completed yet, and he doesn't have any units nearby, he's in a hard-pressed situation where he has to make sure that his Colossi come over. 4th base over here, which we never... I think this is the first 4th base we've ever seen on this map. We never saw Pros take a 3rd, we never saw Zerg take a 4th.
At least in this matchup, yeah.
In this matchup, yeah. And
the Spire's
done, and he's making a few of these metas, but he's got the ability to switch into triple Phoenix production, or double Phoenix, I should say.
Yeah, that's a lot of units that he's currently building. That's 4 additional ones that puts him up to 12. So he's going to try to hit one of those mineral lines. The Blink upgrade is not done, but it should be by the time that the Muralists arrive at the bottom of the map. And we have Void Rays being started. He has, of course, the opportunity to go straight into Phoenixes once that he sees the Muralist commitment. He probably assumed the Spire is for Corruptors.
Yeah, that's a good read on this. I think that's what he's thinking here. Cannon Wall is here, uses the overcharge, so that shuts that down. And the Void Rays are also going to be okay against Muralists in small numbers, but he will want to make Phoenixes now, and I think he even canceled the Void Rays.
He switched straight into Phoenixes when he saw the Muralists. He really assumed that it was for Corruptors to contest the Colossi.
A reasonable assumption for him to make. This attack at the 3rd base is pretty heavily committed to now, but there's still, with the overcharge there, he can't actually do any damage. He needs to make the Mutalists worth it here. He's spending a lot of gas on them right now. The +1 is on the way as well.
He's fully committing to them.
Yeah.
He's fully committing to the Mutalists right now, and with all the Phoenixes in the game, he might either just try to micro against them and go for this death ball that you clump up and then you try to get close enough to the Phoenixes that he can basically one-shot them, or, which is what he's doing right now, is getting a few Corruptors in there so that you have a shield between the Phoenixes and the Mutalists, so the Corruptors are attacking the Phoenixes, and in the meantime, the Mutalists themselves start to dance around and do damage in the main base or in the natural.
Yep. Here come those 6 Phoenixes coming over here. attacking the mutas, trying to chase them away. It's all about zoning here. Guardian Shield goes up to help out, and Solar can never, he can never allow the Phoenixes to pick off too many Mutalisks. If so, then he's not going to have that critical number he needs to actually go through.
Fleet Beacon, because Super already realized, well, you're actually still continuing to commit to Mutalisk play, so you really don't want to back down here. You want to follow that line, and I need the range upgrade. If I don't get the range upgrade, you're going to kill me with us eventually. And now he's trying to chase him down, but he doesn't really know about those Corruptors yet. He's probably assuming that they will eventually come into play. And that's when he also has to think about, all right, what I'm going to do against those. Do I get a couple of Void Rays? Do I try to kill them with a few Stalkers that just blink behind? But then you're not as mobile anymore. So that's really the back and forth battle that we have between the two compositions.
Yeah, he's going to have to keep making a decent amount of Stalkers on the ground to support his Phoenixes. Maybe want to consider getting the +1 attack for the Phoenixes as well. As Phoenixes and Corruptors, once the range upgrade is out, the Phoenixes are kind of be linked up with the Corruptors a lot of the time with their lasers. And, well, here we go. Big, giant Zergling force coming in here, blinking the Stalkers back to protect them. And the Lings are blocked by those Zealots, but still the Corruptors making the Phoenixes having such a hard time to engage here.
Mothership Core is going down, and Super is losing his army as we speak. Most of those Stalkers are already gone, and the Zerg player decides to just move into the natural once again, or at least fall back for now, but he took a lot of units down there. The switch into Void Rays now for Super, and the Protoss player also going for the Anion Pulse Crystals.
Yeah, he's continuing the Anion Pulse Crystals despite the fact that he doesn't have any Phoenixes left, and he goes into Void Rays. I don't know how much I like that. I mean, that's investing in something that's only going to be applied to 4 Phoenixes at this moment in time. He wants the Voiders out desperately because he knows he can target them on those Corruptors, and he will switch back into Phoenixes, I feel, after this. But the trades here for Solar are so good right now, and he's got 5 bases up right now.
Yeah, it's super good trades here. And now we even have the Corruptors moving in once again. Can go for Corruption here too if he wants to. Snipes the last few Phoenixes. There are only 2 Void Rays. That's not enough. The Mutalisks are already on the prowl, taking down one Stalker after another. And he is just obliterating this Protoss army. 20 army supply left. The Zerglings streaming in now to lend their strength on the ground as support. And they take down the rest of the Stalkers. GG! Solar takes this game. A fairly normal strategy that he executed there on Daedalus Point, where we so far have seen very out-of-the-box thinking by all the players and a lot of aggression by Zerg, especially.
It was a map where, I mean, Super tried to play conventional Protoss versus Zerg. He tried to follow the rules so that you would play on a different map, and it wasn't really about the map, what we saw there, actually. It was just about the decision-making from Solar, and the Corruptors really cost Super the game. He didn't have anything to deal with those.
The one thing that Super was forced into was a very defensive play. Normally on the map, you will always have to watch out a little bit for what the Protoss player does in terms of aggression, that your bases are safe. That's something that didn't really concern Solar too much, since he knew it would be suicidal for Super to really move out there. There's just too much potential for the Zerg to just walk past and then go into your natural, because the lack of wall comes into play then with the army. You need to have at least a few units back at home so they can defend against what's going on there. And because of that, Solar got a fairly easy early game in terms of him just building up his own economy and then the tech.
Well, Solar are now looking in a great spot. Up 1 series, forcing out the map choice from Super, which will be Habitation Station. Solar's already proven himself in online tournaments. He's proven himself in Pro League. You know, a lot of people are talking about this guy as an up-and-comer. Now he wants to prove himself in Code S. To go to the winner's match, he needs just one more win, just one more set, and Super's got to be feeling tense here. It is his map pick, and finally, it's, most importantly, not on Daedalus Point, so you can keep that in the back of his mind. Let's find out if he can tie up the series 1-1, or if Solar's going to take him out with a quick 2-0 here at the GSL Code with Calder and Wolf.